Have you ever heard of the Montgomery County Community Action Agency? Well, they help low-income folks become more independent. Stay tuned for more on that coming up next on Connecting Our Community. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Connecting Our Community. I'm Karen Allyn. Sharon Strauss is the Executive Director of the Community Action Agency of Montgomery County. That is a confusing name, and it means a lot of things. That's why we're glad to have Sharon with us. Sharon, thank you for joining us. This is really a multidimensional agency. What is it made of? What do you guys do?
Well, our agency is the county's anti-poverty agency that was founded as part of the War on Poverty with Lyndon B. Johnson. And we have programs that are designed to help people become more self-sufficient. We're part of the county's Department of Health and Human Services and offer a variety of services.
And we will get into those because
Yes.
that's why I said you guys do so many things. Now, how do you figure out who is at the poverty level, who needs help? Because that would be the biggest mission, right?
Right. Well, in Montgomery County, it's a little bit complicated because the federal poverty level is actually quite low. A family of 4 in Montgomery County would need about $83,000 a year to be self-sufficient, which is about 4 times the federal poverty level. So there are some services that are available with federal or state funding that are either at the federal poverty level for people to be eligible, or some multiple of the federal poverty level. And then there's other services in Montgomery County that are really designed to help fill those needs in between so that people can make it here and contribute to our economy and take care of their families at the same time.
I know that $83,000 sounds like, is that what you said, 83,000?
Yes.
That sounds like a lot of money, but we're in Montgomery County, and often people, especially around the rest of the state, don't really consider Montgomery County to be poor.
Well, and
but
that
yet
is,
there are plenty, and the homeless rate just kind of rose by a lot, actually.
well, I think what's really challenging in Montgomery County is that people often have to work more than 1 or 2 jobs. And the cost of our housing is higher than in other
Sky
places.
high, yeah.
The cost of childcare is much higher. And of course, for people to be able to work, especially working women need to have, and fathers need to have access to affordable and high quality early childhood services.
Yeah, and that's one of many issues, I think, that people, working parents, working, non-working, they're always working, whether they're at home or not.
That's true.
But what kind of assistance? Are you talking about financial only, or what other kinds of assistance do you
As well as
guys-
direct services and supporting some of our partners in the community that are nonprofits or who work with us in delivering services. So, for example, the Head Start program, which is through Montgomery County Public Schools primarily, serves mostly 4-year-old children, but also 3-year-old children. And families can apply to enroll in Head Start their children. The enrollment's in the springtime every year. And families that aren't eligible for Head Start or don't find a Head Start slot might be able to find, are able to find a slot in the pre-kindergarten program that Montgomery County Public Schools provides, which helps children become ready to learn, be ready for kindergarten. There's also child care subsidy programs in Montgomery County. That's not through our office, but it is through the county's Department of Health and Human Services. So if people need help paying for child care, they can ask about the child care subsidy programs.
Okay, so it says here on this list of many things that your agency does: contract management, monitoring, obviously with community-based partners, and also promoting advocacy on behalf of low-income populations. Let's go into a little bit of those, because all those make up actually bettering the life for those who are less fortunate, essentially. Is that correct? Is that what you do?
Yes. So we have people in our agency who monitor contracts where nonprofits receive some county funding to support their services for everything from food assistance to employment to clothing to legal help. So those contracts are administered to make sure that, of course, our taxpayers' dollars are well spent and tracked, and that people are delivering the quality services that in Montgomery County we expect. We have wonderful partners. We also, though, provide some direct services at our Tacoma Park Center. It's called TESS, in the Long Branch neighborhood, Tacoma Park East Silver Spring Center. It's a walk-in place where people can come in, any kind of need that they may have. They'll be linked to either a publicly provided service or something that's available from one of our partners in the nonprofit sector to just help them meet their needs.
In other words, if somebody has a crisis and they have nowhere to sleep at night, such as that, they can walk into one of those offices that you just mentioned, or if someone has no food for the next couple of weeks because of a crisis. I know that we're also giving out numbers later for the crisis center.
So yeah, and that's I think one of the really nice parts about the way we work is because we're part of the Department of Health and Human Services, connecting people to the safety net services that are in place. Of course, in Montgomery County, it's a big place, so there are regional services center that people can go to, Up County, in Rockville, in Silver Spring, as well as the walk-in center, which is a very actually small program in Tacoma Park, East Silver Spring, that we operate.
But there's a big one in Germantown.
Yes, that's the Up County Government Center. So people can go there. We also work with our nonprofit providers with a model that's called the Neighborhood Opportunity Network. And there are walk-in services in Gaithersburg and in Wheaton as well that are delivered in partnership with Family Services and with Catholic Charities. So we have a good safety net in Montgomery County, but still poverty, as you mentioned, people have this misunderstanding about what people's needs are and what it takes to live in Montgomery County. And one of the things that's very challenging is that right now, 1 in 3 children in our public school system, which, as you know, enrolls 153,000, students, 1 in 3 is eligible for the free and reduced meals program. And most of those children are actually eligible for the free part of the program. So the lower your income is, you may be eligible for the free versus the reduced lunch or breakfast
because
program.
if it's $83,000 a year, that's not just for people who are dirt poor. You know, that's some middle class people. That's all kinds of
Well, they
poor.
would not be eligible for free. If someone's making $83,000 a year, they're not going to be eligible for
but I mean
those
that's
supports.
that's
right,
what
that's
you
the
need.
gap. Exactly.
You wouldn't need it if you had that much money, but if you had you know a family of 4 with like 30, that's not enough. You know, to
True.
Yeah, that's just
True.
Do you find, I guess I want to know is, where do you find your people? Are they referred to walk into those places? Do people know about them? I imagine that many people at the poverty level, I don't actually imagine, I know this, they're out looking for jobs all the time, trying to make ends meet. You
Exactly.
know.
So in Montgomery County, we do have a population of people that aren't working and who are unemployed, but the bigger story for us are people who are working poor, people who are working and trying to make ends meet. And of course, our county's moved forward to raise the minimum wage, which was something that our board supported as a way to close that self-sufficiency gap. So people are referred a lot of times by word of mouth, by their neighbors, by their clergy, by a family member, sometimes by a school counselor. There's lots of ways that people find out about our services, but the best way to find out about the service is always to call the county's 311 number, because that is a great way to learn about any kind of service you need in Montgomery County.
Yeah, they can tell you anything at 311.
I think so too.
And we have a bunch of numbers that we're going to give out as well during the show and later in the show, because there's a lot of resources that people can look for.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and take a break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll go further into some of the things that your agency does, because it's a lot to keep track of, isn't it? All right. Back in a couple minutes. See you soon.
When you donate goods in response to an international disaster, it's expensive.
They have to cross the sea, pass through customs, be inspected, sorted, then finally delivered.
And often they arrive too late to help, making your good intentions feel a little empty.
There is a better way.
Cash donations are fast, simple, and allow professional relief workers to purchase supplies close at hand.
Cash is best. Learn more at CIDI.org.
It's our duty to serve veterans and military families who serve their country in the most difficult ways imaginable. Together, we can say thank you in so many ways. Small acts of kindness mean more than anything. With our support, veterans and military families can face even the most difficult challenges. Let's honor their service with ours.
Welcome back, everybody. We are talking with Sharon Strauss. She is the Executive Director of the Montgomery County Community Action Agency. I cannot say that without looking down. It's just too many words. And it's also a hell of a lot of a busy organization. You did say that you had 2 offices.
Yes.
How are they different? What do you do out of each one of them?
Well, our Wheaton office is the administrative office where we're doing the grant management, support of our board. It's also an area where an office that people can walk into and ask questions about services, and we refer them to different kinds of services.
So if you want to walk in and ask a question, that's
we'll
the place to
hook
go.
people up, right.
Okay.
And we also run our volunteer income tax assistance program from that office, which serves about 2,000 households a year in Montgomery County with volunteer income tax help. So free tax help.
Good place for folks to volunteer, by the way. If you're good with numbers.
Yes, and
or
you know,
you're a CPA.
Well, you can be a CPA, but you could also be someone. Actually, people are trained, have to be certified by the IRS before they can volunteer.
So you know you're getting good help. So 2,000 people or 2,000 families.
Yes.
Is not enough. People should use this.
Yes, and there are other programs in the community that help people with free tax help. RSVP really focuses on seniors. We have a number of other partners in the community that are providing free tax help. But as I was mentioning, besides being the volunteer preparers, we have people that provide interpretation services. We have people that have provided outreach to help with understanding about food stamps, which is now called SNAP, but I think a lot of people still think of them in that old name. But helping people become enrolled in those programs, learn about other services. So there's a variety of ways that people can become involved.
Okay, and the second office, because I mean year-round tax help is really good, by the way.
Of course, it's much more intense during the season, but if people need help during the year, we can help them from also June through October. We help people with amended returns, back taxes. Really, to receive that help, you have to earn under $53,000 a year. But we also do a lot of outreach for the Earned Income Tax Credit, other tax credits that are designed to help low to moderate working families. Yes,
that's good to know. There's a lot more services than one would think.
Yes,
we need to know more. Now, the second office, what do you do there?
At the Test Center, the Tacoma East Silver Spring Center is a walk-in storefront kind of office in the Long Branch area. So it's right at Piney Branch and Flower. And when people go in the door, they have a problem, they can say, I need help with this or that, you know, whether it's accessing services or a problem that they, you know, where do I go to solve this problem with the landlord, that kind of a referral. I'm having a difficult time with my child, who might help me. So there's that type of walk-in service. And then there's a lot of different partnerships that we have that are out of that office as well. So we have, working with Impact Silver Spring, we have ESOL classes so people can learn English. We have a Judy Center there, which is an early childhood play group. We have specialists who come out from Aging and Disability Services that help people to understand what the services are. We have people come sometimes with a senior group. We'll talk about things like everything from Metro to diabetes prevention. So there's just really a range of opportunities to become involved. We work with a lot of the faith communities and also do referrals there to Manna and other food pantries in the community. So
You would
it's,
seem like bases are covered if people only knew about it, correct?
yes,
feel
and,
like
and
you have-
actually people in that area are very familiar because the program has been there for over 30 years. So it has, I think, a well-established reputation in the community for being able to help people with their needs.
Okay, that's quite a bit, actually. Do you feel like you're helping enough? Even though you make a beautiful, array of services and things and resources, are the people, I mean, obviously some, as you said, are able to get there, but is that enough help?
Well, I think one of the things that we have learned working with our board, the Community Action Board is a group of volunteers whose role is to advise the county and state leaders about the needs of our community. And they also work directly listening to people in the community. For example, we've had a couple of poverty forums where people talked about child care, employment, housing, transportation, important priorities where there are needs. I know I heard a statistic that really surprised me, which is that our Ride-On service, that 75% of the people that use Ride-On are low-income folks. And when you listen to them, you understand that some neighborhoods are not served as well. Some people have difficulty navigating the services, even though information is out there about routes and so forth. Sometimes it can be confusing because Ride-On does this and Metro WMATA does the other route. So things like that can be confusing. Sometimes I think in a place like Montgomery County where we have a lot of people delivering services, the challenge is really understanding what is the service that will best meet my need. And I think really as community members, the more people that understand what the needs are of the community can really make a difference by giving of their own time, by of course telling our leaders what they think is important. That's democracy. And I guess part of the role of the board is to make sure that the voices that are heard are from all of our residents, not just the residents that have influence, but sometimes residents who don't have as much time or they're struggling with other kinds of needs, but we want to make sure that their needs are known as well. And I think we're very fortunate. We live in a progressive community where I think our leadership gets it, but it's a matter of always more needs sometimes than resources.
Right. Well, with the statistics, like I mentioned, homelessness has just gone up a lot. But not chronic homelessness, but that's kind of a sad statistic. So I'm sure that you're all, gearing up for things like that.
Well, and we do have representatives on our board who, from HOC, which is a public housing agency in the county, and the Coalition for the Homeless. So the board has really looked at the need for more affordable housing as well as for those services where people need, that wraparound service sometimes in order to keep housing. Sometimes people need other things to be taken care of as well.
Of course.
So making sure people have access to the whole continuum of services. So
it's
that
a lot of work.
But I mean, the idea
This
is
board
that
is
if
a
they
great
can,
idea.
if people can stay housed, then they will be able to stay employed, and that will really take care
And
of
vice
many
versa.
problems. Yes. Well, and I think people have, many people have a stereotype that people who are homeless aren't working, and that's not
Completely
the case.
wrong. That's been unhinged actually a
Yes.
lot lately.
And
Sadly.
of course, we have some families who are struggling with homelessness, and the county prioritizes Health and Human Services, making sure that those families have housing and making plans for families.
Right. So the board is an excellent tool,
Yes.
because if they can actually have influence on lawmakers and legislators and big donors, in any kind of funding and policy, I guess that would help Montgomery County a lot. If somebody wants to volunteer for you, because I don't know how much full-time staff you actually have, but I know.
Well, I don't know that about 13.
But you're big on volunteers.
Yes.
As we mentioned with income
Yes.
tax, a certain kind of
I
person.
think this last season we've had about 72 volunteers, and so we really count on them quite a bit, and they range from being students who are in college to being retired folks. So really there's a need for all kinds of people. It's not just, as I said, yes, we love CPAs. They tend to be very busy during tax season, but it's great to have those folks, but other people who just want to help, people can be trained. We offer that training so that people are certified if they want to prepare taxes, but if they want to have a support role, answering phones,
Yeah,
making
I was gonna
appointments.
say,
Yeah, there's
let's
lots of opportunities.
If aside from taxes, you have other areas where you could use
Yes.
volunteers. What are
Yes.
some of the other areas? Like you mentioned, answering phones and
Right,
administrative
right.
stuff.
And also at the test center, for example, in the summer, there's a summer meals program where we children who live in the community can come in and have their lunch there. Last year, we served about 60 children who came in, and so that's a great opportunity. And we're trying to link kids up with services in the community from the library, other resources at the same time.
Yeah.
I mentioned there's a play group that meets there. The other programs that we consider our partners, the nonprofit providers that have contracts, every single one of them heavily relies on volunteers, and that's really part of the value-added nature of working with nonprofits. So there are many opportunities. If someone called us and said, I want to help address hungry people, we have a number of partners who are in different communities. They do everything from the lunches that kids bring home on the weekends to working in the food pantry to helping people sign
seniors
up,
too.
learn about food options. A lot of people don't know that there are these resources, so we want to make sure the word gets out too.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing, hopefully.
Yes, thank
Now,
you.
what should people do if they want to get involved? Because you said there's certain kind of training. Are there age requirements? Because I think that seems to be varied.
It depends. I mean, I think we have some opportunity for students, especially at our test site. We have some opportunities for younger students. I think a lot of the programs, though, with the taxes in our program, we require people be at least 18.
Okay, all right. Let's give some numbers so that people can get in touch, both if they need a crisis situation, they need help, or if they want to volunteer. So let's start off with the Crisis Center, because do we have those on the screen? 240-777 and 4000.
Yeah,
That's the
the
Crisis
Crisis
Center.
Center is a 24/7 service that people can call if they're experiencing any kind of a crisis, whether it's an abuse situation or someone is having a mental health crisis or is worried that someone that is in their family or a friend is having a problem. They can call, and there's it's a hotline, and then people can also walk in.
And they follow up too.
Yes.
The abused persons, okay, if you're an abused person or you know someone who's being abused, the number is 240-777-4673. Let's just keep going because there's a lot of them. Okay, adult abuse and neglect, I'm just going to read these numbers out, 240-777-3000. Child abuse and neglect, 240-777-4417. Now, if you have been sexually assaulted and you need assistance, or if you have been victimized in another way, 240-777-1355. Now, you mentioned the TESS Center. It actually stands for Tacoma East Silver Spring. I should have mentioned that before. It's not TESS, she's saying TESS. And their number is 240-773-8260. So we've also got some quick screens with addresses such as the Montgomery County, Maryland.gov. That's if they want information on you guys, running out of time. They're also on Facebook, and you can also call 240-777-1697. Wow, whew, gotta go.
But I'm going to make it really easy for people. If you're in Montgomery County and you need any kind of information, call the county's information line, 311. That's easy to remember.
Perfect. Okay.
So,
Sharon Strauss, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Don't forget connecting our community on the mymcmedia.org website. Thanks for watching, everybody. Gotta go. I'm Karen Allyn. See you next time. Bye-bye. Oh, I ran out of time.